Hey everyone, welcome back to your favorite trio of siblings that is a tribe called Dhillon podcast. I'm Angie Dhillon.
And I'm Rose Dhillon.
And I'm Alvin Dhillon.
Welcome back to our channel. Win of the week. My win of the week today. I'm just thinking, what did I do that was super exciting? Oh, I went for a jog. I am now moved up from walking to jogging. So I did a walk jog.
Nice.
Yeah. And I did that 3 days this week because the weather was nice here in Vancouver. Woo!
Start with Al. I have to.
So when you say walk jog, are you like those people that are going like this and like this a little bit, but they're not really, they're just walking really fast?
Yeah. I actually had our friend Shiv join me last week and there was other people that were walking around the block, and just to be goofy, I did that, like, you know, those like, there's
Phoebe?
that walking, the Phoebe thing. I walked around like that. It was so funny. I laughed myself the entire time. It must have burned a good couple hundred calories. And then Shiv was like, okay, you need to stop now. I think he got embarrassed.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, Al, what's your win?
You're looking at it. This guy right here.
Ooh.
I like that.
I made my own sweater. It took me a while, a lot of trial and error, but I ended up getting a mini heat press, got the right paper, tried it out. First, I sacrificed a lot of t-shirts, but this one came out solid because I was like, you know what? I want to start rocking my own brand. I want to be promoting it.
Yeah.
And it also saves me the headache of always having to change my clothes and wear different clothes for each episode. So there you go. One done. But the gift keeps on giving because my next plan is now to make you guys some sweaters and t-shirts.
I would like to have a few that I can recycle too and not have to worry about those. That'd be great.
They don't have to hear you guys say, well, your shirt wasn't ironed and this wasn't done, or you should have changed that. I'm like, well, can't iron this guy right here.
Well, you know, where it's starting to get chilly now here in Vancouver. Fall is officially here, and I'm back to sweaters now. So at some point I'm going to be rocking the turtleneck again. So I would love a hoodie. So thanks, Al. Yeah.
You're
the
welcome.
Jack of all trades back in the house this week, making us some sweatshirts. Amazing. Rose, your win.
My win is there's a really great website called Coursera, and it's about $50 a month, and you can take courses on, project management, IT, leadership. And so I took my first course last month on the introduction to artificial intelligence because I'm quite fascinated with that. And I just enrolled in a leadership course because I'm hoping to pivot my career next year and probably take on a role that's a little more challenging, a little bit more allows me to show my own growth and get a little uncomfortable. So I am in week 3 of that course. I've got another 6 weeks of that course to go. And then by the end of the year, I'll have a certificate in leadership and strategy.
Nice.
Well done.
Nice.
Good job.
Those leadership courses, I've taken some too, but don't they amp you? Like, they make you feel like you can conquer the world. Do you feel that?
I really realized how much it is self-discovery and your own understanding yourself. You can only be a leader if you really, truly understand who you are as a person. Like, I don't know if, like, I've worked with a lot of leaders. I don't know if they understand that maybe this is the way that leadership is evolving to. It was a very different way of looking at it. Like, you can't lead until you know who you are really as a person. So it was really all about self-discovery, self-awareness, what triggers you, how can you show up for someone else unless you show up for yourself. Yeah. It's been a really interesting course.
Good. I like to think that there's a shift going on in leadership. Gone are the days where you need to have just IQ. I think there's that blended element of EQ and IQ, because you really got to have that level of emotional intelligence now to connect to people.
And instilling fear in people to get them to do their work.
Exactly.
That maybe that worked in the 70s, but it's over now. You really want to motivate staff to do the best. You got
to use empathy to motivate people.
And compassion and kindness, all those things, right? Al and I said on a couple of weeks ago, Al, remember what we said, that when you just said self-awareness, self-discovery, all those things about basically, you have to remember, Al, toot your own horn. Toot, toot.
Why did I know you guys were going to do that?
If someone says toot your own horn, that's the
now
next thing.
I know that's your guys' thing. That's your guys' thing.
You don't say someone's going to toot your own horn and just go silent.
Yeah, I know.
And she
watches us do it. You could have joined it. I feel like let's do it again.
Okay, ready?
Okay, let's do it again here. So everyone, sometimes you just have to toot your own horn. Toot, toot. Yay. That was great.
Good job.
Great job. Okay. And like you said, that's exciting stuff for you. And because it's that transformation, that growth, that where Rose is going to be a little more assertive.
Yeah.
Rose is going to buck up, like Al says.
You got to become your own toot machine.
Yeah. And the thing is, you have to train your mind and your body and yourself to believe that you are a star.
Exactly. And that I can be in a leadership position and I have things that I can bring to the table.
Yeah.
And it's just about believing in yourself.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is in other cultures, but I know culturally we struggle in our culture because our parents had a different upbringing and they raised us to be hardworking individuals, respect your bosses, and those kinds of things. A little bit of fear that if you get a good job, stay put, don't leave. But if we had that engraved in us at a really young age, that you're a star, you could be anything, then the possibilities would be like endless for us, right?
Well, that's where a lot of, I think, immigrant children, and first of all, when it's your first generation in North America, struggle with. Like, I've met a lot of people who say the same thing that, I wish my parents maybe had that conversation with me at a young age. I'm like,
well, they didn't have that open-mindedness, right? They had their struggle was like, if you found survival and you got a good job that pays you well, you eat that shit that your boss has to give you, right? Yeah. You be grateful for that shit you got to eat today.
Yeah. And it's interesting when you meet someone that knows that they're a star. I'm like, oh, this is what it's
such a different thing, right?
Yeah.
It's so
when you see that confidence in them and they're all just like, no, Dory, I got this. You're like, wow, I have that for a fleeting 5 minutes and then it's gone and I'm still struggling to bring that back.
I'm still second guessing
I love those people. I just want to be around them. I'm like, can I be your friend?
I'm so busy asking questions like, who am I?
I have some friends.
Which, by the way, Deepak Chopra says that's a great question to ask yourself every day. Who am I?
It's not a good question to ask yourself constantly. That you got to know a little bit of who you are.
At some point, you got to know who you are, right?
You're going into a host of reception, you have no idea who you are or what I'm doing here. That's not a good start.
That's true.
So true. But no, it's exciting when you have those kinds of friends that know their stars and you kind of want to mimic that behavior a little bit. I'm like, I'm just starting to realize my star potential now. Right. I'm in my 40s. But no, good stuff. So very excited to see your journey and your growth and leadership. Amazing. Okay, I want to talk about, we're still in the month of October. So you know what that is. It's about ghosts, goblins, spirituality, the cemetery, all that kind of stuff. So today's subject or content that we're going to talk about, it is ghosts, spirits, and ayahuasca. And I put all of that mumbo jumbo together because I, out of the lot here, have not done ayahuasca. These two have done ayahuasca. And I didn't want to feel left out of the conversation today. So I'm like, I'm going to throw in ghosts and spirits so I can talk about a little bit of that. And these two can take it away with ayahuasca. Okay. Let's get into the content. Let's get into ghosts and spirits. When you think of ghosts and spirits, do you automatically think one's negative, one's positive? Or what do you think when I just say that?
So, you know how I always say that like everything goes back to like your childhood, your first experiences, and I had positive experiences. And then I also fell in love with Casper the ghost. Do you remember Casper the ghost? So that was my first experience of like, the ghosts really exist. And if they do, I guess they're really nice, friendly ghosts. So I think I programmed myself very young to think that all spirits and ghosts are pleasant. And so I've mostly had pleasant experiences with the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Al?
I feel like I was pre-programmed to be afraid of that side. It was always death, right? You don't look at a spirit. You're like, for you to become a spirit, your physical body had to die. So I think I was always afraid of that. And those bedtime stories that Uncle used to tell us also didn't help because I think it kept us afraid. If you don't go to sleep, they're going to come and get you. You're like, all right, I better go to sleep.
Yeah. I always remember hearing about the boogeyman. They always say the boogeyman's going to come get you. And so when I hear the term ghost, I automatically go to like a negative connotation. I think, okay, it's going to be dark. But when for some reason I hear the word spirits, I automatically think, oh, angels, birds, the sky, everything's rosy. So for me, I have that. I can decipher between, I think one is dark and one is good.
I like that. And actually, I wanted to ask you guys a question because Al just said that. Are you either of you afraid of death?
I think.
Miko is clearly afraid. Wow.
Yes, I think we all are. I don't want to go before my time's up, if that makes sense.
I think I am. I think we all have some being afraid of it, but I think it's more being afraid of like if I don't accomplish a certain amount a task or a goal that I have in my life and I die before that happens, then I'll have like a sense of regret, or I didn't get to leave a good legacy behind. I just kind of vanished and disappeared out of this life. So I would say I'm afraid of it if it happens too soon, because I have a bunch of things that I need to get done and accomplishes and milestones that I want to have happen, and be able to have like my kids and my parents see that happen in their lifetime. So I'm a little afraid, but when it's time to go, it's time to go. I just hope it's quick and fast.
I'm going to just quickly add to something. So in my early 20s, I felt like I led a really cool life because I did lots of cool things. And then the last 15 years, my life was really boring. I was in like cruise control, auto control. Like I don't even know where I was going. And now I feel with the podcast, with this journey, like I'm actually alive for the first time.
Yeah, you're reigniting something, right? Because this is scary what we're doing. Yeah. Even when I'm doing the editing, I'm like, much fun. I have no idea what we're doing here, but we just got to keep going, because even if it's scary, that must be a good sign, because we're on to something. But your life definitely took a crash landing, and then it picked right back up.
Yeah. And so for me, like death scares me right now because I'm not ready to go. I got some more living to do.
I am not afraid of death.
Why?
I have never been afraid of death. I was just having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and like I was saying to him, like, I've told everyone when I die, my time comes soon, to make sure you just, put my body, just put that in the oven, and then everyone go to the beach and everyone have a glass of wine. And if you don't drink wine, have a marijuana martini and toast to me and have my picture there, and I'll say good things. And he's like, well, why are you talking about death here? Like, and you never know when it's going to happen. I'm okay if my time goes before. I will be watching over the two of you on the other side, making sure you don't quit this podcast. I will be pushing that side, but I'm just not afraid to leave. If my time is expired, it's okay.
Are you sensing that your time is about to expire? Because this is a real weird conversation now.
So. Make sure I'm in the will before that happens.
Of course. No, I've always thought that when I talk to people about death, they always have this little edge. And I'm like, why don't I have that? Like, why am I not afraid of dying? I've just never been afraid to go to the other side.
I got some unfinished business on earth still, so I am ready to go yet.
Mind you, when I was doing ayahuasca, I was like, oh my God, no, this is scary. That was scary, but I don't think I'm afraid of death.
We don't talk about death. That's the thing, right? We don't normalize conversations of death. And I think we do need to talk about it, because if you express to your loved ones or people close to you in your inner circle of what you would like, when your time comes, at least they'll have an idea. It's really sad sometimes when people pass unexpectedly and you don't know, like, do they want to be buried? Do they want to be cremated? Do they want a celebration of life? So I'm just going to throw it out there to everybody right now. When it's my time, I don't want a funeral. I think funerals just... give me the heebie-jeebies. They're dark. It's morbid, and everybody's sad and depressed. I don't want any of that. Yes, of course, I want to go back to Mother Earth. So cremate me, but I want a goddamn party. Anyone that knows me knows that when it's my birthday, it's birthday week. I want a 7-day week-long extravaganza fair. I will put money aside in my will and order and eat all of my favorite foods and reminisce about me, talk about stories, play videotapes of me doing funny things. But I want it to be about a celebration. But just not yet. Maybe in about 40 years.
It's funny you say that, because when our grandfather passed away, he put money aside for his funeral. I mean, how bold and wise he was then. Unfortunately, he thought he was going to die 10 years earlier. So the cost of his funeral went up quite significantly, and he didn't anticipate. But when I heard that, I was like, I'm going to do the exact same thing he did. Put money aside. And then I was like, wait, I also don't want, like you said, a funeral home. I don't want any of that. I just want to have everyone that cared about me to come to the beach, which I don't think there should be a cost to that. So that's definitely something that people also should think about when talking about death.
And openly talk about it. I've said it, and I'm now
say what you want. Yeah.
It's out there now. So it's the whole world knows now what I want, but that's what I want. I don't want anyone to come. I want it to be a celebration, and I want it to be about what I stood for, and talk about me and memories and anything that you remember that, that will make my soul on the other side really happy and make me want to dance on the other side.
Yeah. I want to be paraded through the streets. And then not buried or cremated, you bring the casket back home, and you guys just keep it in the living room, and everyone just party around me and stuff.
Wow.
And cheers to me like I'm there.
Have you ever got a chance to look through Angie's will? Like the details of the stuff and who it goes to and where the breakdown is. It will blow your mind.
I have to create one for myself.
I did my will when I was your age at about 35. I had it all done.
Is that right?
Yes. I know where my stuff is going and who it's going to and what, and I don't want the government seizing it all automatically, because that's what happens.
Yes.
If you don't have a will, or if you don't, you can make one at home and just have your friends and family, or even take it to a notary, get it notarized for $25. But if you don't put down what you want with your money, money, it will go to your estate. And then your family and friends will have to pay money to the government to basically get your money back. So if I can have things, I have things in writer survivorship with YouTube, but I actually have things named and who my executors are. So my will is going to be follow through right to the T. Because I don't want to be on the other side and say like, hey, this niece or this nephew or this cousin didn't get this, because I have specific things going to specific people.
Yeah. So. And that's why I say when you're on the other side, don't be mad if they're doing things that you didn't want them to do because you didn't take the time to write down what you want, whether it's how you want your burial service, where you want to be buried or where you want to be cremated, or how you want your items distributed. This is something that, yes, it's Halloween and we're talking about ghosts and spirits, but death is a part of that. And maybe we should normalize the conversation around death.
And let people know if you have a will, let them know, hey, my will is here. I have like backup copies. I have one in my safety deposit box. I've emailed it to you guys. I let everybody know, hey, this is where my will if you ever need it. So I think we do have to have those conversations and we do have to pre-plan because life, is full of unexpected things and things happen sometimes that you don't think are going to happen. And so it's better to always be prepared and just have some key things, just list it out or some items and where you want it to go.
And I was going to add, we have a cousin that passed away, unfortunately, from cancer. She was struggling for quite some time and she passed away recently. But I was speaking to her sister and she said, like, before she passed away, we were on the phone and she was saying, all my shoes are all yours, all the stuff that she wanted to give to her kids and their kids. And she'd already had that conversation about how she wanted to distribute it, which probably will make things so much more smoother now that they are going to start distributing her things. So it is important to have those conversations. That is helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have a will, Al? Have you started a will?
I bought one of those things on Groupon where it's like a certified thing. I just haven't filled it out. I have literally a reminder on my phone to go through it. I'm like, I got to get this done.
Because it feels daunting, but you could turn it around and be like, okay, well, no, because I don't want this to be something that I don't have any control over when I'm gone. I release, like Anand said, I used to work in banking, and unfortunately, when it goes to the state, like there's fees. There's so much unnecessary costs that money gets wasted that could be done before if people thought about
like probate fees and things like that.
So much fees. Yeah.
No, I agree.
And we pay the government enough money.
No, I agree. Okay, let's get back to, yes, death is dark. It's untimely. It's one of those things that we don't like to have conversations about. But in light of October and Halloween and, the month of October about talking to the dead, that is something that we feel that start thinking about at least. And I know it feels a little daunting. I know when I had to do my will, I was doing my 30s. But the only reason I did is just because I worked in banking and I saw, like the division of assets weren't getting divided. I saw families get into tips that this item would be meant for this sister or that brother, and things were not being distributed fairly. And I just thought, I don't ever want my brothers and my siblings to ever question, like, what would my sister have wanted for me? So I just thought, what, better to have something down on paper, and then it's just easier for everyone. Then no one's guessing what to do, right? Exactly. When you're gone. Now let's get into ghosts and spirits. So Al, for you, have you ever had any encounters with ghosts and spirits physically where it just stopped you dead in your track and you're like, what the heck is this?
The one I can think of was the one that happened in Nanaimo on Vancouver Island with mom and dad, aka roommates. We were there, I think it's been about 2 years now. I went out there to visit a friend, go take a look at some places. And the first night we were there, we went to this really old hotel. It's been there for like maybe 60 years, maybe 70 years. Not reno, no nothing. That was the only thing that was available during that time because the summer season was just completely jam-packed. And the first night we stayed there, parents had one bed and I was in the bed next to me. And as soon as I closed my eyes, I felt like this giant weight come on my chest and like push me down. And like, I felt like I was communicating with it where I tried to open my mouth, but it was keeping my mouth shut and it wouldn't let me talk. And I was struggling to get out of my sleep. And then finally my parents woke me up and they were like, hey, like you're having a bad dream. Something's going on. I told them what's happening to me. I'm like, this is really strange. I'm like, I feel like something's like suppressing me. Like it just feels like an energy on top of me. Like I can't get out. And I was like, that's weird. Okay, just try not to lay on your back. So I tried sitting up and I'm sitting up. And I fell asleep I started slouching back down to the bed. It's almost like it's pulling me down, like saying, hey, come back. And every time I'd go through that, I'd wake up, I would look to my left, like I felt like there was an energy in the corner. I'm like, this is really weird. So all night I didn't go back to sleep. I just basically sat down in a chair watching TV. I was like, I'm not sleeping in this bed tomorrow. I was like, we got to find somewhere else. So I go talk to the people downstairs and they're like, oh, you're having sleep paralysis. And I was like, I've never heard of this before in my life. I've never experienced this. They're like, well, we've all had it. Like, I was like, there's nothing. Has anyone ever passed away in this hotel or anything? They're like, no, nothing like that. But they're very confident right off the bat to tell me that it was sleep paralysis. I'm like, okay, I guess it's sleep paralysis. So then the next night I told my mom, I was like, you're going to sleep in that bed. I was like, I'm not going to sleep in there. I was like, let's see what happens. So I sat in this bed. She sat on the same side and I was watching TV. And as I'm watching TV, about 2 hours into it, all I hear is, ooh, ooh, and she's freaking out in her sleep. And then first thing came to me, like, I should wake her up. And then second thing was like, no, you need to record this. So as it's happening, I'm reaching for my phone and she's freaking out even more. And it's the same sounds that I was experiencing where she's struggling to get out of her bed. And then finally, by the time I got my phone, Dad pushed her and woke her up. And she was like, there's something here. And she described exactly what was happening. She's like, something's holding my mouth shut and holding my chest closed. And she went back to sleep. It happened again. And after that, we were like, we're not sleeping here. And luckily, that was our last night. And we did not come back to the place. And I tried Googling stuff, but there was nothing on there about it being haunted or any stories like that. But it did say that this building has been in that corner for like 60, 70 years. So there's got to be something that happened there that no one's talking about. Maybe someone passed away or killed themselves in that room. But that was really weird because then now Mom, who's never had a drink in her life or nothing, and she's had sleep paralysis too, who's never experienced that, on that same side of the bed. So yeah, so that was the thing where I was like, there's something in this room.
So that was obviously, you felt a dark energy.
Oh yeah. And it was like communicating me. Like it was like talk, like come here, lie down, like close your eyes. It kept telling me, and I'm like, keep your eyes open. And it was like, as soon as your eyes closed for a second, it would just pull you down. And you're literally like half awake. Like you're trying to get up and you're like, something is holding me down. Something to keep my mouth shut from talking.
Male or female voice?
It felt like female.
Oh, wow. And what is sleep paralysis?
Sleep paralysis, they say it's where your mind is awake, but your body's still asleep. So you're trying to get up, but your body and your mind aren't connected yet. So it's like your mind's like, hey, man, time to wake up. And your body's like, no, I'm still sleeping, man. And now you're trying to talk, but your body's asleep.
Okay. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that.
Never had it too until I went to that place.
Okay. So that was, how long ago was that?
Probably 2 years now.
Okay. So up until that point, you've never had any encounters?
I never experienced anything.
Okay, Rose.
Well, both Al and I had this one. The last day of ayahuasca, when we finished, everyone had left, but Al and I had our flight the next morning because we were the only ones flying back further. So we stayed at the place that we had the ayahuasca. They had extra rooms, like you can just stay here. And so everyone was gone. Al and I went and got dinner. We came back, and all of a sudden we just started getting a little like weird. We're feeling a little like I'm like, something weird's going on here. And again, I didn't understand. I'm still processing this 48 hours of what we've done. And then we went upstairs to the room and we're lying down. All of a sudden this voice goes to me, close your eyes. I need you to close your eyes. And I'm like, and it's not my voice, like it's not my dialogue, but I knew that I had accessed other portals and other people's voices that weekend. I was the first time that I was like, oh my God, I can hear people's thoughts. It was the first time that had happened to me, that I was able to look at someone, see their face, their mouth is not moving, and I can hear exactly what they're thinking. So I knew something like that is possible. So I'm like, what is this voice? And it was the darkest, creepiest voice. We both had it. And it kept saying to me, go kill yourself. Right now, I want you to open the door and go walk out in that forest and just jump off. Right. And it was non-stop. Like my heart's shaking and I'm like, oh my God. And it's trying to make me close my eyes. And I'm like, nope, I'm not closing my eyes. And then I went to Al and Al's like, holy shit, that same voice is inside me right now telling me to do the exact same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, when I closed my eyes, I was like, I just felt I was back with like the ayahuasca when you're in that like purgatory area where the spirits haven't gone to heaven, gone to hell. They're still like floating around. And I felt like it was just different spirits are coming to tell you because they're maybe evil spirits and they're coming over to like, hey, come join us. But for you to join us, you got to go die. Your body has to die.
Yeah. And
that's
was
scary.
So scary. That probably lasted like 30 minutes. But the two of us were
for me, it was for the whole night. Like every time you tried to go to sleep, they came to you.
Yeah, and we stayed in the same back.
So basically, you just like kept rolling over to keep yourself awake. And as soon as we got up in the morning, we were like, out of there. Brushed our teeth, shower, packed our bags. We're like, let's get up out of here. Because there's so many spirits in that house that it was probably something like that. Because even Derek, the owner of the place, like that, like, he had such a crazy experience that weekend that his back went out. Like, I guess he had absorbed so much energy and he couldn't stay there that night too. He's like, I gotta get out of here.
He had to go somewhere.
So he left. It was just us two and one other girl that stayed in the house. And after the next day, we all left.
Yeah. Do you know if that other girl felt this energy?
No, well, so we left early in the morning. So we don't know. She stayed in another room.
Yeah, we only talked to her for a bit and she went to sleep after.
Yeah, she was one of the guys. So she was quite tired.
Okay.
So the two of us were in that room and I was just like, oh my God, like this voice will not stop. So every like hour I'd roll over and I just said, Al, you good? He's like, yeah, you good? Like we didn't sleep the entire night because that voice was so bizarre. It was so out of the norm. And it was like a nice, soft, like, please close your eyes and then kill yourself. And you're like, okay. So when people actually go and do this, like I kind of have so much more compassion and empathy because I think something does come into
our mind was in that very open weekend state where it was like you're connected with, and if there's a spirit here and it wants to communicate, you can connect with it. And it'll just like, it's like a line of communication that you're getting, like you're sensing it because my portal is open.
Yeah.
Wow. So up until that point, same thing for you. Nothing. You've never had
nothing like that to that extreme. I had never, like, I know sometimes when I go to sleep, I've had nightmares where I feel like I'm suffocating and I'm also like something's on top of my chest. I always find like just doing my repetitive mantra, waheguru, it breaks it. So I've had nightmares, but nothing to that extent where like I'm awake and I can hear this voice telling me right now to go and do these terrible things to myself.
And I think
I'm like, wow.
Before ayahuasca, if I ever experienced anything weird, or even before that time, Victoria, before anything weird, I would just assume like probably heartburn or it's something I ate. You always blame it on just something you ate, or you don't realize like, it could be something more spiritual that someone's trying to communicate with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I've always felt dark energy. I've seen ghosts.
Yeah, you've always been like that.
Yeah, I've always had a level of sixth sense at a really young age, and I can pick up on energy around people, in people, the darkness, or someone's going through something. So for me, it's not out of the ordinary to even be talking about this. And I think some people would get freaked out, but I don't, because I find this stuff so fascinating. I know that there is a level of darkness. There is a level of good. It's always going to be that struggle between light versus evil, right? I've always said that. So for me, these types of encounters, sometimes when I do get them, they're too frequent. I'm like, oh boy, can I just get a mental break? Because they're exhausting when you pick up that energy or you're sensing something's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And then it's that anticipation to like, okay, who's it going to affect? Because I can sometimes see or sense that it's coming. So for me,
yeah, you're right. All the people that did pass, you sense something weird like a week or two before.
Yeah, and now that I'm more in tune, that I don't let it scare me. Now I'll try and meditate and ask, okay, who's this message for? I don't know who. And if it doesn't serve me any purpose, please just return to sender. That's what I always say now, return to sender, because I feel that I'm always picking up cross signals or somebody's energy. Even when I take transit, sometimes I have sat on the bus sometimes and I'm like, whoa, I'm getting way too stimulated here. There's a lot of dark energy. Someone's going through something. Okay. And then I will remove myself, come home. I'll get mom to sage me, or I'll sage myself, or I'll just do my prayers. But there's definitely things out there that I think for many of us, if we don't have that will and that strong faith in the higher power, I could see that you could really succumb and submerge into some level of darkness.
Agreed.
Now I want to get into, I'm interested in there's ghosts and spirits of ayahuasca, because for both of you, ayahuasca was a very profound experience, right? It was life-changing for both of you. But in order to see the light of ayahuasca, you had to go through the dark passages, right?
Absolutely. So the dark tunnel. Yeah.
So if you both can tell me what the first night entailed, because I felt a lot of the uneasiness and darkness that you two were that were experiencing at that particular time. There was a time difference, but I felt the energy. I didn't know what it was, but I sensed the first night a lot of evil and a lot of darkness was going on.
Yeah.
Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, it was pretty much everyone there, because I guess it's like when you have that many people together in a place, all our spirits become combined into one, and we all have to go through that journey together, and everybody pretty much went to hell. And the screams that you would hear you would think like people are dying in the room, like someone's killing somebody. Some people tried to fight back, like they didn't know what's going on because the spirit takes over you. So they had people like holding people down because one guy's punching the wall, trying to hurt people. They're all basically were dealing with their own demons that they've had, their trauma that they've had in their life. And how I felt was that we all had to go through basically what this meant to show you, what the Mother Ayahuasca is meant to show you during that time, or what you ask it. And it was, you gotta experienced hell in some form of whatever your hell is for you, whatever someone had, some death in the family or something hurt you along the way, you got to go face it. And you also get to the point where for me, I felt like we're in a place called purgatory. So you're in this spirit world that's not heaven, not hell, but it's like when they're on the way up, but maybe they did something in their life that doesn't allow them to go to the next level. So they're stuck here. And when you close your eyes, you'd have these spirits just floating all around, and they try to come and take over you. Like they come over and you go, hey, hey, and you feel like they're trying to latch onto you. You're like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. And you're trying to brush them off and try to do
fighting them.
It's almost like you're just in a world of like just people floating around all over the place. It's just like a free for all, but it wasn't like a happy place. It was like, hey guys, like this is where you're here. You want to work on yourself. This is what you came here to see and do. And it was basically meant to show you like, yeah, you think just the reality is what you see is what's going on. This is all around you. Like we're all around you all the time. It's whether you're connecting and communicating with us.
So it's almost like a cosmos of energies.
It was, yeah. First night was the cosmos of like all bad energy, like the hell energy. And then the second night was happiest energy. Everybody was all happy. Nobody had a bad time.
Now, is this energy like when you said hell, is this energy of people's life that were cut too short or something tragic happened to them and their soul
you just know that they're it's like people's unfinished business and their souls aren't at peace. When they say they've done something, their soul was not at peace because they just felt like they were trying to latch on to like another weak person that's entering our dimension, and they're like, yeah, let's jump onto this person, and you have to kind of like wave them off. And when someone latches onto you, you start getting through this little crazy phase, and they come and try to calm you down and try to say focus on what you're here for, what you're trying to work on. It's basically like it's literally like when you're watching those movies that are like you're going to Star Wars and you're going to a whole other universe and you got to fight like everybody. You're fighting this person, everyone's trying to get to you. And
if I can give you like an analogy, it's like Pac-Man. You remember when you're Pac-Man, you're just trying to go through this stuff, and there's like the dark side, that the negative one's coming, this everyone's coming, they're all coming, and you're like trying to watch from every angle so you don't get eaten. Like that's literally what it felt like, was like, and there was nowhere you could go without having someone, and you're just like pushing off. And so your spirit has to be tough. You have to develop a thicker skin, a tougher, by asking for help or just being in yourself grounded to say, I can fight this. Like the very first night I remember saying to the guy, I can't do it. Just take the medicine out. She's like, there's no way to take it out. I was like, wait, what? She's like, you got to go through this for like 6 hours. And I was like 30 minutes into it. And I was like, 30 minutes has passed. This feels like 3 hours has passed. And I was like, how am I going to get through this? And she just let it go.
And how
Stop
long?
Fighting.
What's the average?
It's like seeing there's a castle there. You got to take this yellow brick road to get there. But the yellow brick road goes through the most evil forest. So it's like you've got to get here if you want to get up there. And there's only one way. You can't fly up there. You got to go through this.
You can't no shortcuts.
Yeah, exactly. And as you go through it, it's up to you to see what you're gonna. Someone's gonna scare you off. Are they gonna take you off your path? You're fighting your way through. It's like war zone. You're basically going to a war zone
in your mind.
So why would anyone want to do this?
Because when you get to the castle.
I think ayahuasca is meant to like it's just like life, like anything good in life you have to work for, and you got to go through that blood, sweat, tears, anxiety, stress, and then you that feeling after you get that, it's almost a reward of when you made it through all that and you're like, whoa, I see what I was supposed to do. You have to go there, make it through, and then you get to look back to see this is what I went through. It's like confidence building and spiritual confidence building.
Yes.
To say, look, if you want to work on yourself and get better, it's not like just taking medicine and saying, oh, it's all gone, I feel great. You won't learn anything from that. You got to take it and say, okay, now close your eyes. We're going to go into your mind and your body and work on what's causing you all these problems. And it's not like it just fixes in one go. It takes off a couple layers of it where it was meant for you to, okay, now I've taken off some layers. I've shown you what you're meant to do, what you're not meant to do. And it's up to you to follow it.
And that's why people go back for multiple, because people who've got a lot like, I know that Al and I just basically tipped the iceberg. We have a lot more to go.
To help me. Yeah,
this was just enough to get us going. But I'm confident, like probably next year, Al and I will participate in another ceremony again. Maybe this time go to Peru or somewhere.
I might go to the jungle to get more.
Do it, but we are very much aware that we had enough. Like she's given us enough tools to get by, but we have more work to do.
But it's truly life changing, because I honestly would not be here today if it wasn't for ayahuasca, and I wouldn't be in this headspace. If I was here today, I would be struggling.
So so you, in essence, both of you had a level of spiritual awakening and spiritual growth.
It allowed you to go deep inside, look at what's and release some of it. Like for me, a lot of the deaths, okay, I've dealt with it. I saw it, and I released it. Like you could feel it being released, because when you're releasing it, you throw up, and the sound of the throw up is like the devil coming out of you, and it's just pitch black, like stuff that comes out of you, and it's it just comes in waves. Like when you've dealt with all, you're like, this was a lot to handle, and you're like, okay, that was enough for you now. But it ferments and it comes right out, and now you've actually physically gotten it out of your system.
It's a very different level. It's like when you have a hangover and you drank too much and you puke. That's normal. You know, you can hear it. But this kind of purging, it's like barbaric sounds. Like it was like even my own. I was shocked at both him and I. I was like, wow, we could make those sounds. I didn't even know it was possible for us to do that. But it is very like a release, and you're exhausted, but then also energized in the sense like that was something I was really holding on to. I didn't know I was holding on to that kind of bitterness or that darkness, and then you spew it out, and you're like, oh, this feels better. Yeah.
Now, this passage or the journey of ayahuasca, once you drink this, it's like a hot tea drink they give you.
It's just a cup. They give you like a tablespoon in a cup. Yeah, it's basically like mud water. It tastes not bad to me, but
really?
You drink it, and most people go for a second cup because it depends on what your tolerance level is. You take one, and then if you don't feel it within the first hour or so, you take the second cup. But what really transforms the experience is their live music that they play. I forgot his name. Arcara was he's from I think Colombia. Yeah. He's one of very experienced shaman. And he came down, he plays the music that he created was how he created when he was on ayahuasca. He's like, Mother Ayahuasca wanted me to create all this. And that's how I got this music. And the music he made was like, it took you to where it needed to be. And it brought you back to where it was. That's what really made it a game-changing experience, because it just wasn't a thing on a radio. It was him connecting his guitar and his banjo live, and he's playing and singing completely live to you, and he can sense your energy. When everyone's calming down, the music starts bringing you back down to a calm state. When you're in that crazy state you're dealing with a lot, the music is literally like full on like blasting, and it was just it was an experience where you'd be like there's nothing in the world that you can describe.
Yeah, nothing in the world can describe. And nothing to me has been ever as profound as that. I mean, people are like, oh, I went to Disney. No. This is like, just even Al talking about the music. I remember being exhausted, not being able to physically move. And then he plays a song, and all of a sudden I jump out of my seat because you can't even control yourself.
Yeah,
the music controls
you. The cosmos are controlling you. You're in control with like your spirit world. The spirit world is just taking your body and basically like a puppet. It's moving you like a puppet.
Yeah. So there's definitely some higher force energy.
100%.
Yeah, and if you don't believe it, you just close your eyes and it'll talk to you. It'll show you. Yeah.
And how long was this passage that you took? 6 hours, you said?
Yeah. The first night was about six hours of that intensity, and then it lingers off. So about 8 hours. And then the same thing with the next night is about 6 hours. And then, but remember, that's 6 hours in like our time. When you're there, it feels like 30 hours, 40 hours.
I feel like you're up there for like, you've done years with them working here. Like you've seen a lot.
Yeah. You've seen so much that your mind can't even come back in. It's like, they say your portal, your mind is like here, and on ayahuasca it's like this, and then when you come back you never go back to that place. You're always a little opened up, so it's a very it's just, you're so wide and you're so open, it's hard to explain. So
it's is it safe to say it's like a higher level of consciousness?
Yes, absolutely. Higher level of consciousness.
It's probably like what the Buddhists, when they meditate for hours and they get to a point where they're in a different spiritual realm. That's pretty much it.
I really do believe that all the religions, everything that was formed on our planet was like probably something they've taken some level of psychedelics, because you really got to tap into a different energy to understand that. And like to realize that we're all connected. I mean, we're all connected. And I'm not just saying that. I felt that. I knew that for those 2 days. And I know it now as my journey, even though I sometimes have to remind myself of it because I'm back to like ego bound. It's totally true. We are all connected. And that is at least the reason that I would say to do that. It's just to understand how connected we are to every form of life on this planet.
Yeah. That second night was like, everybody would close their eyes and we'd all be communicating with each other. We'd be talking, communicating. We'd open our eyes up and we'd look at each other. We were like hey, we'd nod and we'd be like, we just had that conversation, didn't we? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
There's something that you just said right now that just caught my attention, because I remember I had to write a paper on something. Here we go. Let me see if I can hear. Okay, here. So I studied and I had to do a paper on something. It's called the 6 degrees of separation. And so what that means is that 6 degrees of separations is the idea that all people, 6 or fewer social connections are away from each other. As a result, a chain of a friend statements can be made to connect any 2 people in a maximum of 6 steps. It is also known as the 6 handshake rules.
I believe that.
So that we are all interconnected.
Yeah.
And if you think about this ayahuasca ayahuasca we did, it's not new technology or a new drug. So this is medicine that's been around for hundreds of years that people in Peru, South America, Colombia, they consider this a sacred medicine that they use for people that need to heal spiritually or go dig deeper. So it's just like the Aboriginals, they have their own medicines that they use that take them down that road. They know that meditating is one thing, but you need some sort of chemical induced thing to help you get to that point, connect with the spirit
Unless you've
world.
got like, I'd say like thousands of hours to sit and meditate. I just don't think we would have gotten there unless we didn't have day jobs and we're not in this, you know, in North America where you're so busy all the time to be able to get into there. Like that takes probably hours and days of you meditating that we didn't have that capacity. So being able to tap into that without having to do that, it was a lot of work though. It's not an easy journey.
And it was a trek too to get there. You have to fly, rent a car, drive, and it was a lot.
It was a lot. We look back at now and you're like, man, we were pretty gutsy. Like, wow.
But nothing great like that is always easy, right? You gotta put the work in.
Now, this is a hallucinogenic drink. Right? So what actually is what does that actually mean for someone like me who doesn't know? What's a hallucinogenic? It makes you see things that aren't there?
They basically say it's a certain chemical that goes in your body, and once it's metabolized, you connect with your spirit. Because if you think about our bodies here, but what's really keeping our heart going, what's keeping us breathing, there's a spirit element to it. And like we all say, we're all connected on a different level that we can't visually see. So this helps you basically connect with that frequency, that spirit world. And it's like, if you want to tap into it, you close your eyes, because when you're open, you're looking at what's around you. When you close your eyes, you're wherever your mind wants to take you.
And the key is to keep your eyes closed, because you want to open your eyes. And every time you're like, don't do it. That's you running. Every time I was like, let me just take the blindfold.
I would open my eyes
and I was like, no. I'm like, just go back. I'm like, it's so hard.
If you open your eyes, what would you see? Would you see your surroundings?
You do. Everything's just moving and shifting, but you're back in reality. So you're like, okay, I know where I am now. I know where when you close your eyes, you're like off to the races. Like you're in a different dimension, completely different. So it's like two different dimensions. So even when I come back, I could see it. Things were shifting and weird, but I knew that, okay, I'm in this house, in this place. But you close your back and you're like, all right, prepare yourself again. And then you're back into a whole new dimension.
Like,
and that's where you're like Al said, war zone.
Yeah. Like you don't lose control of your bowels or anything like that. Like if you need to go to the bathroom, you open up your eyes, like I need to go. But that journey from you getting up, first of all, you're lying on the ground. Getting up to go to the bathroom is like a good 10-minute journey. Because you get up and you're like you can put your head like this and the world just feels like it's going sideways with you. And you put it back and they're watching you, they're holding on to you. You make it there, you go inside the water, you come back out and you're like, it's just like a crazy experience. And you're like, I just got to make it over there. But while you're doing that, you're hearing screams over here, people are crying, people like sometimes like someone's strangling somebody over here. Everyone's having their own crazy experience. And it's all 30 of us doing it all at once in basically one giant room.
So are there ghosts and spirits in ayahuasca?
Oh, yeah.
You saw it.
There's a lot of people who don't have people like that unfinished business. They are there to try to like latch onto you, to get into you, make you feel their pain. They want you to feel all the stuff they've gone through. Like it's scary. Like the banging, the screaming, the screeches. I was just the first night, like, just get me out of here.
Can you decipher between the energy that's coming to you? If it's male or female, can you physically feel
you can feel the energy. It's usually like a feminine or masculine energy. Yeah. The masculine's a little more...
Hear in your head, you need to tell they kind of have their sound feminine, sound masculine.
Oh boy, I'm just sitting next to you two and I'm brained out.
I feel like I'm reliving it right now.
I feel like I'm just like, whoa, relive it, and I'm literally like,
wow. Well, I'm glad that was our last episode of the day today.
Oh, no more episodes left in me.
That was really intense because I was curious about this because I've heard about the ghosts and spirits and that ghosts and spirits of ayahuasca. I've heard that.
But as much as we're scaring everybody, I promise you the light at the other side is a light you've never seen possible. The love that I felt in my heart, I have never felt that level of love and purity and sincerity. I've never experienced that on my own in this dimension, in this form. It was that level was
and that level different. Of love for people have actually done you wrong. You learn to just forgive because you see what they're going through and it shows you like they've got a lot of demons themselves. Like you can't judge them. You just got to distance yourself. Say, I don't need that energy around me, but it's not my job to sit there and hate on you and judge you why you're like this.
That's really good. Heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah. Both of you, heavy stuff. Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now if you ask me like a few months after, I'm like, never again.
Never again.
It's something that it basically keeps releasing slowly that you start getting the appreciation, you start seeing it, you're like, I see what it's used for. It's a tool that after a couple of years, you feel like you're getting ego bound again. You're forgetting about all that. You need to come back to it.
Mm-hmm. So it basically checks your ego.
100%. Because you have no access to jealousy. You have no access to envy or anger. Those things don't even exist. And then you're like, wait, what? That's what it tells you how much we've learned that behavior as humans, because I could not access anger. If I was mad at someone who wronged me, I had compassion for them. And I had this just level.
It allowed you to see why they're like that.
Yeah, why they're like that. And I was like, this is really interesting. I'm not able to have any access to any level of jealousy or anger. Yeah, those dark emotions that we carry with ourselves day to day here are learned behavior. Our natural state is to be in love.
That's true. But people do us wrong. People are jerks. And, those experiences shape our reality in this physical world. But if you go to the spiritual realm, it's a different component of it's that about love and,
but not all of it, though. You go to the spiritual realm, there's two sides, right? There's the love side and the dark side.
And you don't want to be in the dark side. You want to be in the love side.
And how do you do the crossover then? What if do you ever get stuck in the dark side for a while and never?
I've heard people have, but we didn't. Thankfully, thank God, we didn't have that experience.
But they do say that that's why you want to do it 2 nights, because there's either a night. If you had the first night, it was amazing for you, your second night's going to be terrible. You have to go through heaven and hell to do this, and that's why there was a few people after the first night couldn't handle anymore and they left. And he said, he's like, you're doing a disservice. He's like, you've already paid the money. He's like, you came here for the experience. He's like, this is common. People are like, I can't do this. Like, they're too afraid. Like, they might see it worse the next day. And they just said, ask Mother Ayahuasca, be a little easier on you the second night, and ask for what you're looking for, and you'll get it. And we all did, and everybody had
much better,
the most amazing experience ever. We formed a bond, and we still have a group chat to this day with a good portion of the.
That's amazing.
And for me, having the connection that I had with Baba, I've never been able to tap into that level of connection with him, that I feel so connected to him. It was worth it. It was worth going through that war zone to see him at the castle smiling, saying, hey, welcome to the other side.
Everyone will get whatever they need to get out of that experience. It'll be your own tailored experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks to both of you.
Yeah.
I'm just here listening to them and I'm like, oh boy, I feel like I just went on a trip and a journey to somewhere with them, hell and back. And
next
now I'm
one
here.
you're going to do it with
next
us.
one you're going to do it with us.
I don't know, listeners and viewers. I don't know. It just gave me the heebie-jeebies. I've already gone through a lot of hell in my life. So I guess how bad can it get?
So exactly. So for you, it might not be like that. For you, it might be actually a really, really soft experience. For some people have said that who've had a really hard, like you've been bullied very young, they actually end up going through a really peaceful journey.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's see what's meant for me in my passage through life, right? Yep. Okay. So with that, this was our Ghosts and Spirits and Ayahuasca episode content. We hope you enjoy today's content. We hope we didn't scare you too much, but it was stuff that needed to be told. And these two wanted to offload and unload and share share a little bit of knowledge and their experience with you. Until next week, friends and family, thank you so much for supporting A Tribe Called Dhillon podcast. Just want to thank you. I didn't get a chance to say thank you when we started. Wowza. All of our platform channels are just seeing amazing numbers, and we're not in it for the numbers, but the fact that we're growing at an amazing speed and that you are feeling the love and sending us a lot of love. We just want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart. We appreciate it. The three of us started off on this journey just to talk about some things that were bothering us and things that we wanted to get off our chest. We found it to be quite therapeutic, and somewhere along the lines, you decided to come and join us for the ride, and you're all still continue to stay on the ride with us, share our content. So with that, so much love and respect to all of you. Thank you for keeping us in your thoughts and prayers daily and just sharing our stuff and to help us grow. Until next week, please take care of yourself. We are signing off. It is A Tribe Called Dhillon podcast. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
See ya.